Oh snap! Hey, what's going on there, YouTube? This is SCL0320 representing JVS. I'm back at it again for a brand new TV show review. This is actually on the 6th. Is it the 6th now, or is it the 5th? No, actually, dang, it's the 7th. It's the 7th season of one of my favorite shows, The Vampire Diaries. Last season, a lot happened. From Kai killing. Oh my gosh, he killed Alaric's wife. That they were actually gonna have children, actually twins, in front of him at the wedding. Shoot, what else happened? Tyler had to murder Liv just to stay alive. She sacrificed herself for him. Damon lost Elena forever at the count of Kai basically bonded Bonnie's life to Elena's life. So basically, after Bonnie dies, after 60 years, she'll be able to have a regular life, and so he has to wait until that time frame, which is torture for Damon, essentially, because he could have let Bonnie die, but at the end, that was his best friend. He loves her, and he didn't let her die. Matter of fact, the way he freaking ended Kai and like taking his head off, I was like, that was one of the most G moments ever. Like normally, I would say Elijah has those kind of moments, but in this case, it was all Damon. And then of course, Stefan and Caroline. They're trying to figure out where they were at, and they decided to kind of, move and give distance to everything because Caroline's just really still trying to get through the grieving process of everything she underwent with her mother dying. So where does that bring us with the opening of the 7th season? Because one of the biggest things that happened at the end is you find out that the heretics, or Stefan and Damon's mother, Lily, the people that she'd been living with all this time, her family is out. And basically, not only was, who was it? Renzo, he basically, a lot happened. Let's just say that. All I know is they're out. And the first thing you actually see is something that I love about this episode is that there's a nod to them actually writing in their actual journals, like this is real Vampire Diaries. Because one of the things about the first 2 or 3 seasons is that Elena, Damon, Stefan, they were all writing at some point, more so Stefan and Elena. But I did like that whole process about, okay, there's semblance to this. And one of the things you find out is that one of the heretics, she's writing, and so is Caroline. Caroline's reminiscing over everything that's happening because Rick and Damon, they're overseas in Amsterdam. Basically Damon's trying to help him cope with everything, and is saying, well, Bonnie actually followed Damon because she wants to look out for him. And then on the other side of that, you've also got what Caroline's trying to do, which is actually kind of refortify her life, but at the same exact time, trying to figure out what's going on with her and Stefan. And I really love the moments in this episode. Every moment that Stefan and Caroline were in this season, more so than the last one, because I think a lot of stuff was circumstantial, but last season felt so forced in certain aspects because of circumstance that I didn't really get to see them authentically grow into a real relationship. And like the moments that they kissed, that was one of the most passionate moments I've seen, because everything of the world got turned upside down when these heretics start basically doing all these different kind of things. The heretics, they go and get upset because somebody runs over one of the girls and they string them up and kill them. And I mean, the group had to evacuate the town. It was basically Matt and Stefan trying to go and take care of things. And in doing so, they also decided they wanted to blow up the heretics. Bad idea. Because what ended up happening is, basically they misfired. And basically Lily is one of the most G's calls. She said, somebody that's lived throughout decades and escaped perilous things, and not only is a vampire but a witch incarnate, you might want to run for your life, son. Take that advice. And I was like, dang. And it was really interesting how it all played out, because basically Matt's class that he's trying to graduate from the police academy, they get slaughtered, and it's really bad. It's really deep. And I was like, but this feels like the Vampire Diaries that have been missing. And that's one of the things I really liking about this episode coming into the 7th season. I'm going to be watching a new episode tonight, so y'all be able to get my more perspective on different things. I think my battery is about to die, so I'm gonna have to cut this short. But one of the biggest things that I will say is that I am so shipping Damon and Bonnie, because there are moments in this episode that I really see she loves him. Like, she has a love for him. Not only that, she wants him to be able to project onto her, whatever that is, even if it's anger or envy, all this kind of stuff. There's moments where, like, she almost died and Damon almost let her, you know, and they bring those topics up, and at the same time he goes back there, he's like, I can't let you die, like, you are my best friend. Just like she said, like, either love me or envy me, but you're stuck with me. They both realize that together, and it gets them into some mess, because basically they go back into town and break up the truce that Stefan, Caroline, and the group had already made, because they want to take their town back. And that's the scene that you see at the end of the last episode, and it's so epic. I really like this episode. I actually give this episode a 9 out of 10. There's a lot of more things I want to talk about, but I know that my battery's about to die. But I might bring it up in my second episode review tonight for the Vampire Diaries. So hopefully you enjoyed my review for the first episode for the 7th season of the Vampire Diaries. It's interesting to see what they're going to do with Caroline, and as well, what is Lily going to plan to do after losing her surrogate son. So stay tuned tonight. I got more content coming for y'all. I'm going to go ahead and charge my camera right now. The heretics, they're crazy. It's like them darn maniacs in Gotham. Hey, what's going on out there, YouTube? This is SEL0320 representing JVS. I'm back for another TV show review on a show that I love, The Vampire Diaries. It's in its 7th season. It's in its 2nd episode. And oh my gosh, it's just gotten insane. One thing I love about this 7th season is that they've made things more exciting and more dangerous. They don't need a finite ultimate evil presence, you know, this like overpower this, overpower that. It's just the situations now that they've evolved from the persons that they were to the people that they are now. It's like, you know, now circumstances are really happening. Like the last part of last episode, I didn't have time because my battery was dying on my camera, and I was like, dude, I love the way that Bonnie and Damon reacted and interacted with one another. Like, I was like, they could end up starting to date. Like, even like Stefan said, like, he implied like Elena would want you to move on. She even referred to you could even go and date, you know, like she wants you to live your life ultimately. And I could see a lot of love coming from even with Bonnie. And one thing about Bonnie now, she's totally different. Like from when she was with Damon, you know, like being stuck there, like she is a totally different person. Well, one thing I'll say about her is she seems a lot happier, or she seems a lot like more controlled and stuff like that. But I think that that's not gonna work given the circumstances of how this episode completely ended. Because part of the reason why she even wanted to, you know, get into the mix of trying to help is because she blames herself for these heretics being loose, as well as she blames herself for now killing Lily's prize older son in her eyes. And now they're reaping those rewards because basically Caroline has been kidnapped. For whatever reason, Enzo decides he wants to side with Lily. And it's interesting because you get to find out the reason why. And I kind of felt that was the reason. But it was bluntly said in this episode. And like I said, he revenged Caroline. He had her strung up. And I mean, Stefan was kind of like enjoying himself, just having a normal day. And then he realized that Caroline had been kidnapped. And not only that, Lily had confronted him. And she basically saw in his eyes that, you know, he didn't know who killed what, you know. And I mean, Damon's just being, you know, Damon. You know, he's lashing out. And he's being the Damon that, like, I've known since the beginning of the series. And that's one thing that they had stressed throughout all those interviews and panels for Comic-Con, is that you're going to see the old Damon come back and his actions and his reactions to stuff. Because it really is. He's really acting out. It's just like now he doesn't have Elena to pull him back from any kind of form of darkness, as well as like Stefan doesn't even have the gusto to even try. Now the situation was that he knew that Caroline was kidnapped, and he saw that this is the love of his brother's life, and so he's like, okay, what do we have to do? And that's the thing that's always going to keep him centralized as being an amazing character. Like his love for his brother, that will not change, and that love, that capacity to love, is apparent. Like we've seen him at his worst, we've seen him at his best, and now he's like, in my opinion, at rock bottom essentially. And I love that dynamic with this one because he goes to Lily, he tries to apologize, and she basically runs a tale about how when he was a younger kid and how like his dad tried to, you know, have him go and get whipped, and he went and got whipped, and he just sit there and take it and wouldn't do anything. But she had a specific kind of tactic for him, like those toys that he so prizedly wanted and loved, that she took everything away. And she knows that if she can break him and turn him against his brother, then that's everything. And in this episode, like she just does the worst thing that I could possibly think of. She takes Elena's body, and she even basically alludes that and tell them like go and dump her body in the river, and see where, you know, she ends up in 60 years. And I'm like, dang, that's how you feel. Like I was like, Damon is not gonna take kindly to this, but there's nothing really that Damon can really do. As well as now in this situation, Matt is also put in a bad situation as well because his life is put in jeopardy. Like Bonnie decides that she wants to kind of help, and she knows that the only way they can actually enter the house where Caroline is they have to kill the person that was personally signed off. One of the things I liked about the beginning of this episode is kind of like a Blair Witch kind of situation, where it's two normal people. They were out and about, and they were, you know, trying to figure out stuff that's going on in Mystic Falls because basically it's off limits. And I mean, like those two people from The Grinch, they get got bad. But Matt happened to be there, and instead of killing him, they use him, and they use him as being basically the person that the deed decide over for the house. And it's bad, dude. It's so bad. Like I feel bad for Matt, but I think that this is the most interesting story arc that Matt has had. Like I think there's been a lot of times where the beginning of the season, like they'll give Matt a good story arc with, I think when he was having one with Rebecca, when he was going and he was actually a traveler and traveling and inhabited his body, when he was dealing with his sister, and like he was able to kind of, you know, go between the lines of the here and now. But it's like I feel like they've missed the mark with Matt, and I think that Matt is at this breaking point. Like it's not even just a hatred for vampires. Like he doesn't even know what to feel or how to be, and I'm curious to see where they're gonna go with his character because they're giving him real attention instead of them like doubling off on Tyler and his love arc or doubling off on Elena. They're giving him time to really progress and interacting with these other characters and how he really feels towards Damon, towards Bonnie, towards Stefan, towards the situations. And I really like that about this episode. Like it really goes over that in a different way. Not just that, Caroline really finds out like how the two sisters are insane. The three sisters are insane. And there's a big revelation that one of them has a real big connection with Stefan, which I'm not going to reveal in this review. But I mean, it's bad. It's so freaking bad. And I'm curious to see where this is going to go in the long term. But either way, I really like this episode. I mean, everybody was strained, especially Rick. Rick in this, even like Rick is getting more FaceTime. I think with Elena going, like, I feel like it's kind of like in Smallville. If any of y'all know Smallville, like after the third season, going into the fourth, when Lois Lane shows up, and after the fifth season when Lana dies, that's when things started getting interesting. That's when things like really picked up and they went with it. And because like Nina is such a strong character, like just her presence there, it absorbs the story essentially. Like Elena, everything was circled around her. Now it's around the two brothers and the world that they live in and the people that they know and their family. And it makes for a better story arc to me. I actually find this is a lot more compelling. I feel like it's a lot better in a lot of different ways. I didn't see any faults really in this episode because like given the circumstances how both brothers literally are being broken down systematically, not by just by the heretics, but by their own mother. What Enzo's decisions were, like what Bonnie finds out, and even with Rick, like I said, and I kind of delved off from that, is that Rick is dead on to try to bring his wife back from the dead. and like he'll do anything to do it. And this bloodstone that he's found that Lily was asking for, I feel like that this bloodstone was created from like the victims that she killed, like the countless victims. Because I was sitting there looking at all these cluts and stuff like that. Now I kept on going back in my head when Kai was going over like the countless body counts, the thousands of people that Lily actually killed. And not just that, one thing I say about Lily is I haven't seen her actually really kill anybody. I've seen her use a lot of restraint. I tell you, y'all, like, and this is the thing that is gonna really blow my mind. If they manage to kill any more of those kids, dude, they are not gonna be able to stop their mom. Like, she's just gonna go off. And I pray for them, dude. Like, it's gonna be so freaking bad. But that makes for good things. Like, you're not showing me all your cards. You're not showing me what she's really truly capable of, as well as her connection to the stone. Because now we find out the stone maybe has the potential to bring people back to life. And if Rick is successful in this, like, what is the ramifications of doing it? As well as Bonnie touched it, and it still stuck with her in her mind. Like, she was like, this is pure evil. You need to make it and burn it. And you know what Rick did. But anyway, this is a good episode. I actually liked it. I give this one an 8.5 out of 10. I actually really liked the episode. I'm curious to see where things are going to go. I actually really can't wait for the next episode. Because what Damon and Stefan's plan is going to go, it could be really interesting. It could go really well. So we'll see what happens next week. I'm not going to do a review, I don't think, right away. I think I might stick to doing these two back to back like this, as opposed to kind of like doing one every time, because I'm reviewing so many different things. But let me know if y'all want me to do like one episode reviews. I can do that. Let me know in the comment section below. I can try. If y'all have a specific series that y'all want me to concentrate on and review, let me know in the comment section below, because I love the originals. I just looked at the 2 episodes of the Muppets and reviewed those. I want to do the next 2. As well as there's a lot of different shows like Quantico, Blind Spot. I saw previews for that, but I don't know if I actually have the time for it. There's movies I really want to see. Sicario, Bridge of Spies is about to come out. There's so many different movies, y'all. Like, it's a lot that I have to do, but I'm gonna do one more thing tonight because I did see it. It just came up, so I'm gonna do that reaction review tonight. Hopefully y'all stay tuned for that. Hopefully you enjoyed this review session for episode 1 and 2 of the Vampire Diaries season 7. I'm gonna go look at a little bit more of the originals before I go and do it though. Y'all have a blessed one. Take care. JVS, we out.